Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the University of Northern Colorado. Thank you for joining us for our 5th UNC Talk session of 2016. My name is Erwin Raimundo, and I'm the Graduate Assistant for the Office of Enrollment Management and Student Access. Tonight, our UNC Talk session will focus in on residence life and also a little bit about dining. Before I introduce our guest panelists tonight, I would like to remind you that you can ask questions directly through our Google Chat feature. We'll try to get through all the questions tonight, but if we don't, we'll provide the contact information for the Office of Housing and Residential Education Department at the end of the session. Joining us this evening are a mixed guest panel of professional full-time staff and some student employees that work in housing and residential education. How about we start with some introductions of our guest panelists? Leanne, would you like to get us started?
I would love to. Thanks, Erwin. Hi, I'm Leanne. I'm the Assistant Director of Equity and Inclusion here in Housing and Residential Education, and I get to keep our spaces inclusive and safe and throw a lot of fun programs.
And I'm Lauren. I'm a Student Assistant with Housing Services, and I've only worked with them for about a year now.
Hi, I'm Rebecca. I'm a junior here at UNC, and I'm currently the Residence Hall Association President.
Thank you all for joining us tonight and introducing yourselves to our viewers out there. Rebecca, since you introduced yourself last, we'll go ahead and get started with a question for you. This question says, where do I start the application process?
Great question. So first, you're going to want to make sure that you set up your URSA account, and you can access that from the UNC website. Once you have all that set up, you can go to unco.edu/housing, and it'll tell you and find the application process to log into your online housing contract. Once you log in with the same information as your URSA account, it'll take you step by step through the entire process.
Thank you, Rebecca. That was a great question, or great answer to that question. Leanne, this one will be for you. What are the different housing tiers?
So we have 6 housing tiers on campus. They range from about $2,400 to $3,300 per semester. And our website provides some great descriptions of those and lets you know what the amenities are as well as what tier a specific building falls into. And so you want to check that out, unco.edu/housing.
Thanks, Leanne. Really appreciate that answer. Rebecca, I'm going to jump back to you for this one. How should I determine my top tier preferences are, and where do I start?
Absolutely. So after you go to the housing website and you kind of take a look at the tiers, you're going to want to look at a few different things. You're going to want to see what kind of amenities you would like in your room. Do you want your own bathroom, community bathroom, things of that nature? You also want to see if you're interested in any of our residential learning communities. And then you're just going to want to see what's going to fit you best in terms of your financial abilities. We were rated #1 in residence hall amenities and rooms across the entire state. So no matter where you end up, it's going to be a really great time. But those are a few suggestions we have for you when making your selection.
Thanks, Rebecca. And speaking about RLCs, this question says, even if I'm in the honors program, am I allowed to change the room I'm in on the room assigning days, or is it set for me already? And let's have Lauren go ahead and answer that for us.
Awesome. So the honors program is something that students can apply and get accepted into. The housing services are usually notified when you guys are accepted into the honors program. And we get a list of you guys, and we give them rooms. And I believe when we let you know that you have a room, you let us know if you don't like it, kind of thing. So whatever you prefer, usually it works out.
Thanks, Lauren. I'm going to jump back to Leanne for this question. What should I do to ensure I get one of my top housing tier preferences?
Great question. So you're going to want to complete your housing application as soon as possible. And we basically start assigning with our priority deadline of December 1st, and we continue down the list from there.
Thank you, Leanne. So we earlier touched on RLC, so I'm going to go back to Rebecca on this one. What are some of the different housing programs that I might be interested in?
Great question. There are a lot of different kinds of programs that you can join and be a part of when you're here on campus, whether you're interested in a residential learning community or not. There are other opportunities for you as well. We do have essentially a student senate organization in every hall known as Community Council, which is part of the Residence Hall Association. As you move on through your time here at UNC, you can also apply to be a resident assistant, a diversity mentor, any of our other student staff positions. And if you're interested in being involved on campus in any capacity, we recommend you going to the activities fair when you first get here and visiting the student activities office for more information.
Yes, there's a lot for students to participate in on campus and off campus as well. Thank you for that. Lauren, we're going to go to you for this question. I'm a student veteran. Is there anything I should know in regards to housing?
There's nothing specific about being a veteran student. The process is pretty much the same. I think you are still, the housing application is exactly the same. You still are making the $200 deposit. So nothing should be different. You shouldn't have any extra worries.
Thank you for that. Leanne, I was wondering if you can answer this for me. When is the last time I can apply for housing?
Great question. So there's technically no deadline. You can apply at any time, even after you've started, if you commute and you decide that you do want to live on campus. But we do recommend applying for housing as soon as possible so that you can get your top choice or top few choices of where you actually want to live on campus.
Thanks for that. Rebecca, here's a question for you. How does UNC decide who gets their top tier preference?
Great question. So touching on what Leanne said just a moment ago, it's going to start by the priority deadline starting with December 1st, and it's going to go down from there. So the earlier you get your application in, that's the priority way that it'll happen, and they'll just go down the list. So again, if you're interested and you really want to try and maintain that top tier, get in when you can, but otherwise it'll just go from whoever first applied starting December 1st and continue to make their way down to whatever the current date is.
Thank you for that, Rebecca. You earlier touched upon honors housing and some of the RLCs. So this question will be for you. Does anyone know if you can opt out of living in an honors housing,
That's a great question. You certainly can. You do not need to be in the honors community in order to be a part of that honors program. So just make sure you indicate that on your housing contract. And if you have any questions, feel free to let the office know.
Thank you. So Lauren, what about this one? Does anyone know where on the housing application you put down the actual name of the roommate that you want?
During the housing application process, I believe in step 2, it'll ask you who your roommate preferences are. You're able to put in one or more of your friends' names, their bear number, and I think it's all included in the contract. So I think they have to do the same thing on their contract too. So you list your friend's name and your friend lists your name. So that way that we both know that you want to live in the same room together.
Awesome. That's actually a good thing to take note of, because I know a lot of incoming students really have their roommates lined up. But Lauren, what if you don't have a roommate? Will UNC basically help you find one in any specific way?
Yeah, that's a great thing that UNC does. They like to match you up with a person that you should be able to work with. They have a survey that you fill out, and they're pretty good at matching people. I didn't have a planned roommate when I lived in the dorms, and it worked out fine. I ended up being friends with everyone that I roomed with. So it's not really that big of a deal if you don't have a roommate planned out.
No, yes, I think anyone who comes into UNC and lives on campus will make friends quite easily. We're a friendly group of people on campus, so thank you for that, Lauren. Leanne, we're going to jump back to you. After filling out the housing application, is there anything else I need to do to choose the residence hall I want?
So once you filled out your contract and paid the deposit, you're pretty much all set. You can log back in after June 1st, and that is when you'll be able to see what your building is, who your roommate or suite mates are. So look for that after June 1st.
Thanks. Rebecca, what are the residential learning communities? I know we've talked about it indirectly, but can you tell me a little bit more about them?
Absolutely. So here at UNC, our residential learning communities are either interest-based or educationally based. So for example, we have some elementary education communities, some biology student communities, but we also have interest-based, such as the Spectrum RLC community, and things of that nature. There's a full comprehensive list of all of our RLCs on the housing website. And if you're interested in opting into any of these, there will be a moment when you're filling out your housing contract that you'll be able to indicate that. So all the details and information you can find on our website.
Yes, that's true. Everything will be on the website, and the newest RLC, from what I've been told, is Outdoor Pursuits. So that's quite exciting for a lot of these incoming students. Leanne, I was wondering if you can tell me a little bit more about RLCs, and this question basically states, how can I change my room assignment if I don't want to live in RLC anymore?
Well, first I'd say hopefully you do, because they're actually a really awesome way to meet people who have like a similar interest, whether it's your academic interest or whether it's like an identity-based thing or just something you enjoy doing. So I definitely recommend being in an RLC. But if you realize you don't, maybe there's a roommate you want who isn't in an RLC, or you want to live in a different building where an RLC isn't, you have until March 31st to go in and edit your housing contract. And so what you'll do is remove your selection and put no interest, and that way you'll be taken out of the RLC. Now, if it's past March 31st, you're already placed in that, and you'd have to wait to talk to your hall director when you move in. And so it also gives you an opportunity to actually feel it out when you first move onto campus and see if you do want to be involved in the RLC once you learn more about it.
Thank you, Leanne. Yes, the RLCs are a great place to learn and make a lot of friends and feel comfortable on campus, especially in your first year on campus. So thank you for that. The following question was basically kind of like a follow-up to what Lauren answered, but it's a little bit different. So we're gonna have Rebecca answer this one. How do I let the housing people know that my friend and I are rooming together?
Great. So again, expanding on what Lauren said earlier, when you're in your housing contract, both you and your roommate want to make sure that you have each other's first and last name and each other's bare number. There is a place where you can indicate that on your contract, and you both need to do that in order for the system to recognize it. Once you have your first and last name in there in the bare number of the roommate, then they will do their absolute best to put you in the same space, but it won't necessarily work out that way unless both of you or your suite mates have all that information in there.
Thank you, Rebecca. Lauren, this is going to be for you. Does anybody know, can you still fill out the housing application even if you've not 100% decided on coming to UNC yet?
Yeah, if you're just considering on going to UNC and you're not set yet, we do recommend that you do sign a contract or complete the housing contract, and then you're able to cancel it if you don't decide to go to UNC. You're able to cancel it and get 100% of your deposit back if you cancel it by April 30th, and then 50% of your deposit back if you cancel it by May 31st.
Thank you, Lauren. Rebecca, these next two questions will be for you. The first question says, I'm a transfer student. Is there anything different for me? And is there a way for me to connect with other transfer students in the residence halls?
Absolutely. So in terms of living residence halls, there's nothing different about the process. You'll apply for housing the same way. However, we do have a residential learning community specifically for transfer students, and that is going to be in Lawrence and Hall. So this is a community that you can be with other transfer students from all over the country if that's something you're interested in, kind of meet and have common ground. But no matter where you're going to be on campus, you're going to find people that you're going to find common interests with and have things that you're interested in doing and people you want to be around. So that is an option for you, but other than that, anywhere you're placed, you're going to have a really great time.
Yes, that's true. Our campus is quite friendly and you'll make friends wherever you go. So the second question I have for you, Rebecca, it's talking about our friendly campus, more specifically pet friendly. Can I apply for a pet friendly dorm?
You can. It's one of the really cool opportunities we have here at UNC. Our pet-friendly residence community is also found in Lawrence and Hall. So if you're interested in opting into that, you can find the application on the housing website. And if you have questions, you're welcome to contact our office. There are a few rules and regulations about what kind of animals and how big they can be. So make sure you read all of that really carefully before filling out the application.
Thank you, Rebecca. So, Lauren, this is a question I hear a lot from students, especially at Destination UNC. Basically, they ask me, is there a way I can connect with people that I'll be living with before I end up on campus?
Yeah, so there are a few ways that you're able to connect with your roommate. The typical ways are, Facebook or, any social media that anyone is involved in. But a way that UNC likes to do it is starting on June 1st, you can log into your housing contract and see who your roommate is. And then when you click on the link, it'll show the names and the roommates and all of that. And it gives you an option to send them an email through that whole system. So you're able to contact them regardless if you can find them on Facebook or not.
Thank you, Lauren. Leanne, this one will be for you. You've been a little too quiet tonight. How will I know UNC has received my housing application and I'm nervous it won't go through?
So if you've completed the application and submitted your $200 deposit, you're pretty much all set. And that usually gives you access to register for orientation as well. So that's one way to know that we definitely got it and you don't need to be worried about it. Otherwise, I'd say just send us an email, housing@unco.edu, or give us a phone call. It's 970-351-2721, if I remember correctly. But definitely feel free to look it up. It's right on our website. We'd rather you be sure than be worried about if we got your information.
Thank you, Lauren. And yes, that is the phone number. It's 351-2721. Lauren, we'll go back to you. How much is the UNC deposit and when do I have to get it in?
So, excuse me, the housing deposit is $200. And you can pay it with your credit card or your debit card. You have to, I think you pay it when you're completing your housing contract, but you're able to, with specific eligibility, you are able to get it postponed to your first August bill, I think. So, but we recommend that you pay it in full when you do your housing contract. That's the best way to do it. It's I'd say the only way to do it.
Thank you for that, Lauren. And I misspoke earlier. Thank you for answering the previous question, Lee Ann. Please don't hold that against me. Rebecca, this question will be for you. What if I have a special medical requirements or concerns? Who do I tell about those concerns?
That's a great question. So your first step is in your housing contract, as you're filling it out, there will be an opportunity for you to tell the department what your medical needs are. But I also encourage you to call or email the department directly so they can make sure that they have all the amenities that you're going to need or request in that space, whether that's ADA or anything of that nature. So while there is a moment in the contract for you to decide that, I would also continue to recommend that you directly communicate with our office so that we can make sure we give you everything you need when you come here in the fall.
Thank you, Rebecca. So these next two questions will be for Lauren. The first question says, are students able to apply for paid positions with dining services?
Yeah, that is a great thing that UNC does, is we love to hire student workers, especially since, they live on campus most of the time. So dining services is a great way for students to get involved. I didn't personally work with dining services, but I've had tons of friends that have worked there and they love it. They can work at our 3 dining halls, which are Toby Kendall, the one at the UC Zacharias, and spacing. Holmes. I don't go to Holmes, so I don't know that one. But it's, like I said, a great way to get involved, and it's a lot of face-to-face with other students, so it's a great way to make friends too.
Awesome. So speaking about dining services, this next question comes in, and it basically asks about dietary restrictions or accommodations. It says, can you get a variety of vegetarian foods at homes in TK? My daughter has rather limited taste and likes pasta with marinara sauce and Parmesan cheese. Is that something she would be able to get for lunch or dinner? Thank you.
Yes, so I'm a very picky eater too, so I was really worried about that. But they have choices that are consistent every day. One of them is pasta and sauce. Another one is pizza. I believe Zachariah's in the UC has mac and cheese and like Chinese food and paninis every day. So they have consistent things and they have a ton of choices everywhere you go. So you never really get bored either. There's always a vegetarian option too. We do like to, we like to take care of people who have allergies and make sure that they have a meal as well.
Thank you. I really appreciate that answer. It's very true that at TK Homes, Bear Bistro, and Zachariah's, will accommodate to the students' needs. And we also have a registered dietitian on staff. So if there are gluten allergies or anything specific that you do require, we ask that you contact the Office of Dining Services and we'll go ahead and work with your needs. So Leanne, this is a question that I typically hear again at Destination UNC. Who do I contact if I get stuck while filling out the housing application?
You bet. Well, you could always call me, but I'm not always in my office all day, every day, like some of our main office staff in TK. And so they are a really wonderful group of people who are there to be helpful. 8 to 5 Mountain Standard Time, in case you're in a different time zone. 8 to 5, Monday to Friday. Number I mentioned before, 970-351-2721, or by email, housing@unco.edu. So if you're having any trouble, please reach out and we're happy to help you over the phone.
Thank you, Leanne. Rebecca, could you answer this for me, please? What size bedding do I have to get for my bed in the residence halls?
Another really common question. So our beds will fit your normal twin size bedding. If you do decide to purchase extra long bedding, they'll fit just fine. They'll just have a little bit of extra fabric to tuck under the mattress.
Thank you. Lauren, I'm going to go back to you for this one. I plan to live in Harrison, but I want to be part of the elementary education community. Do I have to live in Lawrenson to join? Thank you.
Yeah, so the elementary education community is located in Lawrenson, but you are not restricted to living there if you want to be involved in it. I wanted to be part of the PVA floor, the Performing Arts floor in Web King, and I never got a room on it, so I got a room below it, and I was up on that floor more than the floor I lived on. So they're still super accepting, and they're still awesome, and you'll find a great community to live in regardless.
Thank you for that, Lauren. So this question, Leanne, is going to be for you, and it's something that I can closely relate to. I like to know what's ahead of me. How do we pick which room to live in? Is it possible to choose a roommate when you've already turned in your housing application?
Great question. So all of the hall, building and room assignments are handled by our main office. So if you have a roommate preference, you will want to provide that information, and so preferably full name and bear number. So anyone who's been admitted will get a bear number, and it's step 2 of your housing contract, and you want to do that again by March 31st so that we have that information to place you. And again, as both Lauren and Rebecca have mentioned, make sure the other person also lists you, because we can't confirm that they actually want to be your roommate unless you both match up as roommates.
Thanks, Leanne. I really appreciate that answer. Lauren, we're going to go back to you. If you're choosing a room to live in, does it show you if someone would be rooming with you? And I'm assuming this viewer is asking because they don't have a roommate yet.
Yeah, so the room assignments for the incoming students, they will be handled by the housing services, and they will be able to log back into the housing contract starting June 1st to see who your assignment is and who your new roommate will be. And then when you log back into your housing contract on that date, June 1st, you'll be able to see like I said, your roommate, and I think that's when you get to contact them too. So you'll be able to meet them and get situated.
Thanks, Lauren. Rebecca, I'm going to go to you for this one. When will rooms be available to choose from?
Great question. So going back to that June 1st deadline, that's when you're going to be able to look at the rooms that you are assigned in and that people who are in your room. So once June 1st hits, you're welcome to log back into your housing contract, and all the information should be there at your disposal.
Thank you for that. So Lauren, this one's going to be for you. I think we had some conversations about this before the Google Hangout started. What is it like living in the dorms with new people?
Yeah, so like I said, I always lived with new roommates. I never had a planned roommate, so it's a great way to meet new people. You know, if you don't like your roommate, maybe one of their friends that they bring over your like. But anyways, there's a great, I think it's a great way to meet new people. And I've never had an issue with my roommates that were assigned by me by housing. They have the great, the survey that they ask you to fill out. That's a great way to match people up. So it's not a huge deal if you get a new person.
Thanks, Lauren. This question is going to be for Leanne. Does a sophomore transfer have to live on campus? If not, how do you recommend finding a good place to live with a lease that starts in August?
Yep, absolutely great question. I was a transfer student as well, and so that was an important thing for me to know when I transferred to my undergraduate institution. And so if you have 20 or more college credit hours after high school or some equivalent to that, you will be able to elect to live off campus, whereas anybody coming in, a first-year student or under that credit load, we will want them to have that experience of living on campus. And so if you do qualify to live off campus right away, if you live near Greeley, you can kind of just drive around. You'll see lots of rental signs that are up already. And you can also contact our Office of Campus Housing, Off-Campus Housing Department, and so 970-351-2172, and they're really helpful. A lot of the off-campus, like leasing agencies, give them information, and you can also probably do a Google search to look around, but if you talk to the office, they'll be able to help you figure out the places that are really student-friendly, and it kind of protects your experience a little bit so you don't end up somewhere that's not super fun to live at off campus. So I definitely recommend reaching out to them.
No, definitely reach out for some great information. And yes, our housing office will definitely help you out with living off campus, or at least making some solid recommendations. This question will be for Lauren. This viewer asked, what is included with living on campus?
Yeah, there's a bunch of things included on including in living on campus. Laundry is one of them. I believe every hall has their laundry rooms. They're community laundry rooms, so everyone gets to use them. We provide Wi-Fi. We provide restrooms. Some of them are community restrooms, some of them are private restrooms. And we have the dining halls, we have, we have water, and we have kitchens. They all have kitchens. I don't believe they have personal kitchens unless you're living in Lawrenson, I think. And then all of the other ones are community kitchens. So, and then you're able to rent most things from front desks like vacuum cleaners or, cooking supplies. So I think the only thing that you usually have to bring is just your own personal belongings.
Thank you, Lauren. So it looks like we have time for one last question. I'm going to send this up to Rebecca. What side of campus should I live on?
That's a great question. Each side of campus has its own personality, and they're really great no matter where you're at. I would first recommend looking at where your classes are anticipated to be. Most of the English classes and the science classes are going to be on West Campus, while most of the business classes and the performing and visual arts classes are going to be on Central Campus. And then after that, just kind of look at what you can afford and what you're looking for. Some communities are suite style, some communities are not. So no matter where you end up, it's going to be a great place. And even if you do happen to live on an opposite side of campus, we do have a bus that runs from either side, and it is definitely walkable. So no matter where you end up, you're going to be okay. It's just kind of up to what you prefer.
Yes, the Boomerang is quite friendly to our students living on the opposite end of campus and taking classes over on West or Central. It's quite convenient and free of charge. So that was basically it. I would like to personally thank everyone for joining us this evening. And I want to remind you that the Office of Housing and Residential Education is open Monday through Friday from 8 to 5 p.m. You can also contact them by phone at 970-351-2721. And again, thank you for joining us, and go Bears.